tapping into the true potential of the human spirit. This is Humanity Empowered. This is the Implicit Show. What up? What up? How's it going? All right, check it out. This is episode 1 of the Implicit Show. And you might be asking, what the heck is the Implicit Show? I thought I was tuning into Leading Life. Well, look, up until now, we were doing the Leading Life podcast, and this was Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. And it was basically, you guys know what it was. It was a podcast about personal development, really. It's just about being the best you could possibly be, learning, growing, leading your life towards the right direction. And we loved it. We did it. It was great. Everything was good. But something happened along the way. And I think it's really good that it did. And I think what happened was we kind of got overwhelmed by all of the things we have going on with Implicit and with our company. So one second, let's make sure the stream's working. Hey, if this stream is working for you guys, make sure you go and you share it. There's a mic cracking or something, whatever, that's fine. But let's do a quick check here to hear how it sounds. With Implicit, because it's the first episode, you might get some technical difficulties, I don't know. But all I want to do is get my message across. So anyways, like I was saying, we kind of got overwhelmed with the direction that Implicit was going in. There were so many things. I mean, we had Implicit Entertainment, which is supposed to be the whole kind of thing. The big thing anyways. And then after that we had Implicit Records, which was basically where we went and put all of our music. We created music and we had promotions. We were promoting other people's stuff, and it was a cool thing that we're doing. And we were also doing the Implicit Empowerment thing, which is, we did the podcast Leading Life. We wrote some books. We had all these different things going on. We even had Implicit Visuals, which is all about making movies and showing good art and doing photography and anything to do with your eyes, basically visual stuff. And honestly, from my point of view, guys, I just want to be completely open and vulnerable with you here. It was overwhelming as it's so overwhelming, it's crazy. And so for the past few weeks, since the new year started and everything, I've started trying to think of which direction do I really want to go in with this whole Implicit thing. Like, what's the whole point behind any of it anyways? And so, a big part of me kind of just had to embrace the fact that there was change coming, because I knew we had to do something big. I knew we had to do something completely different, and we had to change because we had been going in a certain direction for so long, and it just wasn't working. It wasn't meeting our expectations. It wasn't fulfilling us the way we really wanted it to as a team. And so we decided to go into a new direction. So let me tell you a little bit about what we're doing and what this whole Implicit Show is going to be about, and what the whole topic of today's episode about. And it's really simple. It's we just want to create a brand of people who are empowered, a brand that empowers people, a brand that you could associate with, and you could say, yes, like that is me, that I'm strong, just willing to go for it, willing to go the extra mile, willing to lay it all on the line for what it is that you truly believe in, what it is that you're passionate about, what it is you love. That's what Implicit's all about. That's what the whole brand is about. And so, we cut out all the bullshit. We cut out Implicit Entertainment, Implicit Empowerment, Implicit Records, Implicit this, Implicit. We cut out all the bullshit, and we brought it all down to just Implicit and what it's really supposed to be about, and what it's all been about since the beginning, which is empowering people. It's empowering people to grow, empowering people to become more, empowering people to love unconditionally. And that's what Implicit's about, and that's what we're doing. And with this show, the whole point of this show is to bring these new ideas, these inspirational stories, bring all these people together to create something amazing. And so with the Implicit Show, what we're doing is this. It's going to be the same as Leading Life. It's going to be 5 days a week, Monday to Friday. And it's going to be at 5 p.m. Eastern time. So you could tune in. You could, send us your questions on Periscope or on Facebook or on YouTube. And we're going to be trying to do as much as we can to stream to multiple platforms and do as much as possible as we possibly can, right? And yeah, we're going to take a different direction too. I'd love to have musical guests on the show. People who come in on the show and tell their story and play music and do that kind of thing. Also, artists, just anybody who is inspiring, anybody who's is aspiring to empower people. That's what this show is all about. Now, really, I want to talk about change and my own kind of battle with change, I guess you could call it, because I was so set in my ways, I think, when we first started this thing. It was like, this is what Implicit's about. This is what we're going to do. We're going to, make music and make all these things. And we took on so freaking much. It was crazy. And we all got overwhelmed, and we kind of lost the point of what it was all about in the first place. And I mean, especially in the past few months, it's become so rigid, so, not open to any kind of change whatsoever. And that's not what I want my life to be about. That's not what I want this brand to be about. I want it to be about change. I want it to be about growth. I want it to be about being open and willing to new experiences. That's what matters to me. And I think that's what matters to you too. Because look, change is inevitable. Like, it really is. You can't even stop change if you wanted to. Nothing in the universe is rigid. Nothing in the universe stays. It's always moving. Like, even think about the planets. Think about how fast our planet is moving right now in space. Think about how fast our solar system is moving in space, or our galaxy is moving in space. Everything is constantly moving and changing and growing and evolving and dying and regrowing, and all these things are happening all the time. And so whether you like it or not, your life is going to change. Whether you like it or not, your belief systems are going to change. Your ideas are going to change. The way you live, the way you hold yourself, the way you think of other people, the way you think of the world, all these things are going to change. What you do, the habits you have, the way you feel about yourself and the people around you, all these things change all the time. And so you basically have no choice. I hate to be that guy to tell you, like, yeah, too bad, you got to change. But that's the truth, guys. You basically have no choice but to change. And so what I want to talk about also on the show today is why change. Not just, what's going to happen when you change, or not just, telling you no matter what it's going to happen, but why change. And I would argue, I remember hearing one of the things that it completely changed my life, man. It was, I believe it was a Tony Robbins quote, and he said, look, whether you like it or not, things are going to change. But happiness comes from progress. Happiness comes from change. Happiness comes from doing something different, from growing, from taking a new direction, from taking a leap of faith, from stepping into the unknown instead of sitting in your comfort zone. And that's really what I had to do now. Like, this is my first time doing a podcast episode alone, for example. I had to kind of step out of my comfort zone and think, okay, well, how could I do this alone without Cameron here? We don't have a special guest here. Nobody. It's just me explaining my vision for the company, explaining what happened, explaining my vision for this Implicit show and all the things that we're going to do. That's the stuff that is important to me. And okay, one second. I just want to make sure I get this share. If you're watching this, please share it around. Get some people on here. Make sure they understand the changes that are happening. Let's share this message. Anyways, change. Happiness comes from progress. It was such a huge realization for me, because a lot of the times, like, I wanted to build a routine. I wanted to build a schedule. I wanted everything to always be the same, be rigid. I was very, clean freak. My whole apartment, my house, everything needs to be a certain way, clean, OCD. It's got to be straight. The lines and the color, everything's got to be perfect, or else I'm gone. And it just doesn't work for me. And I had to really change that philosophy, because things kept changing in my life, especially from the age of like 19 to what I'm 22 now, guys. From the age of 19 to 22, it is amazing how much things have freaking changed. Like, I'll tell you, it's ridiculous how fast things could change if you're open and willing. That's the thing, is what happens to some people is, okay, from the age of 20 to the age of 40, they haven't changed one bit. Nothing changed their lives. They just took the same direction the whole time. They just kept going with it. Boom, go with the flow, roll with it. I'm going, gone. Right? But for me personally, I've experienced so much change between the age of 19 and the age of 22, because I was open and willing. Look, I had an experience somewhere, I think I was maybe 19 or 20. I had an experience that pretty much forced me to change. I had no choice. I was in a band for a long time, probably like 4, 5, 6 years. And this band was like, this was my life, guys. I don't know if you guys have this thing in your life. Maybe it's a significant other, maybe it's a freaking baby or like a child or something. But I had a band, and to me, this band was my freaking child. To me, this band was like, I was married to it. Like, this was my significant other. This was all I freaking cared about in life, was just this one freaking band. That's it. And it's interesting how that all played out too, because as much as I cared about this band, and how as much as I put my time and effort into it, and as much as I believed like this band, we're so talented, it's our one ticket to the big time, it's just any day now a record label is going to come around, swoop us up, and we'll hit the big time. Yeah, see, Amelia Bennett, she in the comment sections, Letterbomb. So I was in this band called Letterbomb, and it was an amazing experience, guys. I loved it. But what happened with Letterbomb is basically the same thing that happened with Implicit just recently. And what happened was we were basically forced to change. The band was forced to change because of this, okay? I wasn't fulfilled. I was having fun. I was happy. I was enjoying pleasure, but I wasn't fulfilled at the deepest level. That's the point I'm trying to make here. Because fulfillment is different than pleasure. Pleasure is like, oh, hey, I just had a piece of chocolate. Oh, hey, I just drank some water. Oh, hey, all that stuff. That is pleasure. But fulfillment is different. Fulfillment is when something from within comes out of you. It's when you really fulfill your purpose, something that you know you're doing this for a really good reason. Maybe the reason is you want to provide for your family. Maybe your purpose is you want to make a difference in the world. Maybe your purpose is something else. I don't know. You want to bring joy, happiness, whatever. Whatever it is for you. I didn't have a purpose in Letterbomb. I didn't have a purpose in that band. My purpose in that band was just to party. Like my whole purpose was enjoy pleasure, have a good time. And the problem with have a good time was it was all about me. The whole purpose of Implicit, it was all about me, fulfilling my ego, making myself feel better, because look, I was playing in this band for all these people, and if they didn't accept me, I'd get really upset. I'd be like, wow, like these guys, they don't like my music. I'm not worthy. They don't like me. I'm not good. Okay, well, if you don't like me, then all of a sudden I don't like myself. And so it was my whole happiness, my whole ego, everything was dependent on whether or not I could basically not even bring joy to people, basically bring joy to myself. If I played a show and I had a good time, that was all that matters. If the people in the crowd didn't have a good time, whatever. If my other bandmates didn't have a good time, whatever, as long as I had a good time. And so this is what I'd do, guys. I'd get drunk as fuck. I would get so drunk, and I'd perform and make an ass of myself. I would, so many things that I do, just self-sabotaging the band. And so eventually it came to the point where the people I was in a band with, my brother and my best friend Dylan, we all pretty much secretly hated each other. Like we loved each other, but we secretly hated each other at the same time, because it was like we spent so much time together. We were just following the same path. There was no progress. There was no change. We were basically just in the same spot we've always been. And it just didn't feel like we were getting anywhere or we were fulfilling any kind of purpose. And so what happened eventually was my brother quit the band. And this was a big deal for me because he was our drummer, but not only was he our drummer, dude, he's my freaking brother. Like, that's my blood. It's like Letterbomb, the band, could not go on without the Doobie Brothers. That's just how it felt. I was like, man, I could easily replace this guy. I could easily find another drummer, sure, but it was my brother. Do you know what I mean? It's like, it's my man. It's like we spent so much time together. We had like life. It felt like, we were tied together. For him to quit the band, for me, it really hit me hard. I mean, the night he told me he quit the band, I lashed out on him. I yelled at him. I told him I'd freaking kill him. Like, I told him, Cameron, I hate you. I will literally kill you. Like, I will kill you, Cameron. You think I was serious? I probably wasn't serious. But at the time, I was in such a heat of rage. I was telling my brother I'd freaking kill him. Sure enough, I got freaking wasted that night, right? I was a big drinker. And so what else am I going to do with my life? Let's go get drunk. So I got drunk as much as I possibly could. And I didn't wake up, I think, the next day till 6 p.m., 7 p.m. And I get a phone call from my mom, who's crying hysterically, can't make out a freaking word she's saying. So I tell her, Mom, I can't understand you. Pass the phone on to Dad or something. And finally my dad gets on the phone and he says, yo, your brother just got in a car accident. You need to go to the hospital and go pick him up right now. And I was like, no, like, fuck, like, I do not like that kid right now. I'm so mad at him. I'm so upset. I cannot go see my brother. And you know what? He told me, look, we're drunk. Like, it's New Year's Eve. It's 7 p.m. We already started drinking. And so I had to go drive and all the way to the hospital, go see my brother. I was hungover. I was so upset with him. Even more upset with him. I was upset with myself more than anything. The whole way there, I'm telling myself, like, you are so terrible. You are such a piece of shit. How could you be so hateful? Like, what is wrong with you? Why can't you just love your family? Why do you have to be like this? And I get there and I walk in the room and he's got this neck brace on and he looks scared. And I looked at him in the eyes and I said, this is what happens when you quit the band. And he laughed and I laughed. It was a funny little joke. It was cool. But the next 20 days, I beat myself up more than I ever have before. I mean, that night I got completely wasted, obviously, because I was an alcoholic at the time. And the next day I just stayed home. The biggest hangover. I swear this hangover lasted me 20 freaking days, because for the next 20 days I locked myself away in my bedroom, got some weed, got some alcohol, got some food, got some video games and some Netflix. I'm like, I'm good. I do not need to leave this room for any reason but to piss, and that's it. And so I spent these 20 days, and it was like the most unfulfilled 20 days of my entire life, because look, I felt like it was all over. All of it. Everything. I felt like all of it was over. My life, my career, my business, my happiness, my relationship with my brother and with my family. And for a very short time, I felt like I could just end it myself. I felt like, why not just like take my own life? Commit suicide, kill myself, whatever. Nobody cares. I've failed. I'm a failure. I suck. Because I can't, look, if I can't make it with this band, the only thing I ever cared about, the only thing where I spent all my time on, I did everything for this band. I did everything. I felt like I gave it my all, and I still failed. I still came short. And so I beat myself up so much. Oh my gosh. I mean, if I would have gone another 20 days like this, God knows what would have happened. But after those 20 days, I finally talked to my brother again. And he pissed me off, actually, because I spent 20 days being more depressed and self-hating than I've ever have in my entire life. And meanwhile, he spent the past, whatever it was, 20 days loving life. He was learning, he was growing, he started this new YouTube channel, he was doing all these new things, and he was really feeling like this, like I could feel his energy, like he was actually pumped about life. He was truly happy. He was truly doing something with his life, and it was making him excited, and he was loving it. And I had not felt like this, like I had not felt the way he was feeling for years, not since the beginning of Letterbomb. I mean, even in the last year and a half of we were a band, there was some tension there. There was it just wasn't at full capacity. It just wasn't, full passion, full like, let's go for it, let's do it. It just wasn't. And so I asked him, like, bro, what are you doing? Like, how come, what is this? And he sends me this audiobook. He says, read this book. Listen to this book. He says, it's 10 hours long. It's completely changed my life. This is the reason why I quit the band. And I laughed in his face first. I freaking laughed in his face. And then after that, I picked it up. I checked it out that night. And I'm thinking, okay, this thing's called Think and Grow Rich. It's 10 hours long. Some sort of self-help book. Maybe it's a get-rich-quick scheme. I don't know. I'm not into self-help. I'm not into any of this shit. Like, what is this bull? And finally, I open it up, and it's hilarious. 15 minutes in, and I'm hooked. I'm like, damn, like this guy knows what he's talking about. I was like, man, I was hearing strategies, philosophies, ideas, things that I had never heard in my entire life. And it completely changed me. It explained exactly what I had been doing, why it was messed up, and exactly what I can be doing to get exactly where I want to go. And it was amazing for me. And at first, I'll tell you, I got pissed off. At first, I was angry. I was like hearing all this stuff, and I was like, oh my God, this is genius. Like, how come I have not been taught this in school? How come my parents didn't tell me this? How come my aunt and my uncles didn't tell me this? Where was the teachers at school to tell me how to manage my emotions, to tell me how to get what I want, to tell me how to live the life of my dreams and actually be happy and fulfilled? Like, Where were they this entire time? How come I was never told this information? And yeah, after being pissed off, I eventually like sucked it up and I started applying some of these strategies and creating all these changes in my life. And I'll tell you, before this, I was so afraid of change. I was terrified of change because first of all, first reason why people are afraid of change, they don't believe it's possible, which blows my mind how we get caught in this trap. Because like I said earlier, change is literally like, you don't have to do anything to create change. Change creates itself. Change just happens. You don't have to do shit. Like change, it's just gonna happen. And so I didn't think it was possible. I didn't think I could achieve it. Second of all, the second reason why people are afraid of change is they're afraid like, hey, if I change, if I put in all the work, if I go in there and I give it my all and I kick ass and I make sacrifices and I take risks and I do all that stuff, what if I do it all and it's a waste of my time? What if I do it all and it doesn't work anyways and I just end up right back where I am? That's how I felt. I literally felt like, look, I could do all these things, I could try all this stuff, but it doesn't make a difference in the end because I'll just end up right back where I was at the beginning. Broke, upset, depressed, suicidal, drunk, high, overweight, eating, just all those things. What if I tried and it doesn't work? The third reason, or the third thing that really scares people about change, is judgment. This is the toughest one, guys. Judgment. What other people are going to think of you. That's the thing. That's it. That's the one that stops people so much. Because look, okay, I could change my life. I could get healthy. I could change my mindset. I could go into a new career. I could start a new relationship. But what if I do it and people judge me? What if I do it and my family doesn't accept me, or my significant other doesn't accept me, or my kids don't accept me, or my community doesn't accept me? That is what stops people, guys. It's so huge. And it stopped me for a big part of my life because a lot of what I was doing was in the public eye, right? I was in a band for years. Since I was 15 years old, I was in the public eye. I was on stage. I was doing interviews. I was on the radio. I was on social media, connecting with people. Since I was 15, I've been doing this kind of stuff. And so, I mean, 15, I'm 22 now. So I've had some time to get over the whole judgment thing. Like, I do not care what you think about me. All I care about is what I think about myself. Nothing against you, no offense to you. But look, if I cared about what you thought about me, I'd be giving you my power. I'd be basically depending my happiness, my well-being, my fulfillment, the direction I take in life, I'd be giving it all to you, and that's not fair. You shouldn't care about what I think of you because look, you need to hold on to that power. That power is yours. And that's the thing, man. If you just give away your power, you're hopeless. Then now you're depressed. Now you're upset. Now you're anxious because you don't have control over what it is that matters to you in life. And when I finally took the power back from all these people and all these things, and I was blaming school and I was blaming society, I was blaming my parents, as soon as I took it all back and I said, look, you guys do your freaking thing and I'm going to do my freaking thing, right? I'm just going to worry about myself for now, at least. I mean, because I was in such a vulnerable place in my life that I was not ready to think about other people because I wasn't even thinking about myself. That's the thing, is I learned that you have to take care of you first. You have to change you first. If you want your life to change, if you want your business to change, your relationship, whatever, you need to change you first. It starts here. It continues here. And then it goes out here into the world. And so those are 3 reasons why people can't change. And I think before I end this episode, which I probably should any minute now because we're getting to the 30-minute mark. But look, I want to give you 3. When I started getting into this whole personal development thing and I started learning, I started basically committing myself to understanding, why do people do what they do? How do we influence that? How do we influence people to change their life for the better, to make the changes that they know they want to make, that's in their heart, they feel it, but they're afraid, but they're scared, but they're stuck in their comfort zone? How do we shift that? How do we get people out of that zone? And this is I came up with a simple 3-step process that it's taught by, I mean, a couple other people kind of teach something similar to this, but I took everything that I had ever thought about. I took it all and I condensed it all into this one formula. And it's very simple, guys. All you need to know is what, why, and how. What, why, how. That's it, guys. They teach you this in school, don't they? They say, hey, if you want to learn something, or if you want to discover something, or you want to solve a problem, or you want to, whatever, use the 5. Who, what, where, why, how, right? Well, who and where, like it's you and wherever it is. You could go into detail if you want. That's all. But look, what, why, how. It's that simple. And the first one is really why. And this is your inspiration. And inspiration, the thing about it is so many people wait for it to hit them. Like, oh, I'm waiting for the inspiration to hit. I'm just waiting for the inspiration before I write my book, or before I write this song, or before I go to work, or before I set my goals. I'm waiting for the inspiration first. And that's the problem. Sorry, I can't answer. So that's the problem. So many people are waiting, and you can't wait for inspiration to hit. You need to search for inspiration. You need to find what inspires you. Hey! Shh! She's a good dog. She's a good guard dog. She's great. So find what inspires you and search for it. Like, hunt it down and get that inspiration. Don't wait for inspiration to hit you, because it doesn't work. Daya, come here. Next step number 2 is the what, or the why. This is your motivation. This is why you got to understand why you're doing what you're doing, because it doesn't stop at the what. It really doesn't. Daya, shh. It doesn't stop at the what. I don't care if there's people at the door here. I'm going for it, okay? What doesn't matter. It's the why. Daya, stop. Shh. You need to understand why you're doing what you're doing, and get a million reasons why. Because if you have one reason why it's kind of, wonky, no, you need a million freaking reasons why. That's what's going to push you and drive you to go the extra mile to make it happen. Because the more reasons, look, reasons reap results. So get the reason, and the results will come first. And last part is the how, guys. And so many people, they want to skip to the how. They want to just like, how do I get it done? Go to YouTube and or Google and type in what to do, why to do, and then how to, and you'll see way more how to's than you will see what to and why to. Because the what and the why, that's really up to you. You gotta search for that inspiration. You gotta find out what it is, explain it in complete detail. You need to understand a million reasons why that matters to you, why it's important. But it's the third step, the how. That's what trips people up, and it's really the easiest step. Like, seriously, go to Google, type in how to this, how to that, and you'll find your answer, because how to is everywhere. Right? That's the easy part. But the problem with the how-to is you're not going to get it until you actually have proper inspiration, proper motivation. Because as soon as the how-to gets tough, and it will, whatever you're going after is worth it, the how-to is not going to be easy. It's going to be difficult. You're going to have to make some sacrifices. You're going to have to push yourself. And what's going to help you have that level of perseverance, persistence, is knowing the inspiration and the motivation behind it. And those are the three things. That's that simple formula. What, why, how. Inspiration, motivation, transformation. That's what's completely changed my life. It's just that simple formula. And so I wanted to pass that on to you guys here today in the first episode of the Implicit Show. And look, we're embarking on a journey, okay? I have no idea what the show is going to look like in a week, 2 weeks, a month, a year, 2 years. I have no idea. But all I know is I'm excited about it. I'm excited. I'm more excited than I've been in years about just life, and about the direction I'm taking, about the value we have to add. Like, I really do see this brand, this show, everything we're doing with Implicit, I really do see it empowering people. We've already gotten so many like messages, and we've even gotten gifts sent to us from like the UK. We're in Canada. We got gifts sent to us from the UK. Like, we're affecting people's lives here. And that excites me, because I feel like we're just getting started. Like, we haven't even done anything compared to what's coming in the next week, in the next 2 weeks, the month, the year. There's so much that I'm so freaking pumped about. I could talk to you guys for hours about this. But anyways, I just want to acknowledge some of you guys in the comments. We've got Amelia, thank you for joining. Rochelle, thank you. Andrea, Shelby, Amanda, Courtney, Andrea, again, thank you so much. Thank you to my Periscope family. I love you guys so much. Tune in again tomorrow, because we're doing this every day. Yeah, Monday to Friday, 5 p.m. Eastern time. All right, if you guys have any questions, you guys have any guests, hey, do you want to come on the show? This is a anything goes kind of show. You want to come on the Implicit Show? Come on, anything goes. So that's it. I'm peacing. Love you guys.